Good evening, everyone. I will open this meeting at 6:01. First and foremost, I want to say welcome. This is exciting to see everybody's faces in person. I thank you all for making the effort to come. I know that we're still all a little bit uncomfortable and we recognize it. So we really are happy that so many are here. And Ted and Tia, we're so glad you can join us. Sue and Robin are excused tonight. So that's where we are. Okay, I don't see any public input. So correspondence and announcements. I have nothing. Do you have anything like that? No? Quiet.
Well, I've made a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a We'll be quick, but
nice. Just a reminder to everybody that we are being recorded and this will be viewed by people. So
okay. Quiet.
Well, I think we need to have a little bit of fun after all. Not
being everybody.
Tia has graciously offered to take minutes tonight, so when you speak, remember that she's trying to get all of the information. So be conscious of that.
When you say first or second, say your name at the same time. That way, Tia doesn't have to look up to see who's Megan first, Mary second, something like that. Make it a little easier for Tia.
Good. Okay. Approval of the minutes from the June 28th meeting.
I found a little typo in the minutes.
Let's get a motion first for the minutes. And then,
I'll make a motion. Terry Rosella.
Okay, Terry's made a motion and a second, please.
Connie
second. And Connie has already brought to our attention that her name.
I'm sorry, who was second? I'm sorry, you're talking. Okay, thank you.
With one K.
No, one Robin?
Under committee reports, it just says Robin Kahn said the committee meet and recommends that. I think it should say met.
Met instead of meet. Yeah. Any other errors anyone found? Okay. So I'll call for a vote, please. All in favor of accepting minutes from June 28th with the corrections, signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions in the meeting? Oh, I was abstaining. I'll abstain because I wasn't here. And Mary and I.
But I did read the minutes tonight.
Okay, thank you. Treasurer's report, Tia.
Did everyone get an opportunity to view the treasurer's report?
Mm-hmm.
One thing I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention under library operations, we are spending down on the Friends of the Library programming grants that we got from them. So thank you very much to them. But do note that that's where those funds are coming from. And we did have a support group that regularly meets at the library, generously gave us a donation, which was very, very nice. And then you can see the income. Any questions on this page? No? Okay. And then on the encumbrances, you can see that we still have a lot of, we have some dollars that are unencumbered, both in our library board account as well as library operations. We're starting to spend down on library operations for various things that we need, and especially now as we're opening up more. We will be spending more dollars, and we have a number of projects that are underway. So you'll be seeing more activity in this account over time. Any questions?
No.
Not here.
Can I get a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
So moved.
Thank you, Ted.
Second, Judy Schwimmer.
Thank you, Judy. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Jan, Friends of the Library?
We have been busy, actually. The first thing we did was vote to support the 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. I think it's going to be a terrific program. As Megan said, it will get the name of the friends out there, but more importantly, it should bring some parents of younger children into the library. So I think that's very cool. The bookseller is going to be reopening on September 13th. So that's coming up, and we're going to start taking donations on August 11th. We still are looking for volunteers to help out. If anybody wants to running in, we'd be thrilled. Right now, we're going to be taking donations on Wednesdays from 1 to 7:30 and Saturdays 11 to 2. We're hoping that people don't bring their donations in at other times because we don't want the library staff to have to deal with that. So we're going to hopefully be getting more volunteers.
What were the dates of the donations? The days?
It'll be the Wednesday and Saturday.
So this is for donating books?
To the bookseller. Yes,
okay.
Absolutely. And BJ Liberty is in charge of it. And she's doing a dynamite job already. She offered to step down from being vice president so she could be in charge, the manager of the bookseller, at least on an interim basis. And our whole thing is to separate the bookseller from the friends so that people understand the bookseller is not the friends, it's an arm, not the whole, because I think there was some confusion there for some folks. We're going to also be starting a newsletter for the Friends members. My goal is to get it out sometime in August, and I think I'm going to try to send it, if Megan is willing to go along with this, I have talked to her, to all patrons. And then after our big push for membership in October, it will be specifically for the members of the Friends. So that's the plan right now.
Jan, what are the hours of the bookseller?
So far as I know, it will be 1 to 7:30 on Wednesdays and 11 to 2 on Saturday.
Only those 2 days.
Right now, until we get more people.
Could you say those times again? I'm sorry, Jan, I was trying to get that.
The hours for the bookseller right now will be Wednesdays from 1 to 7:30, Saturdays from 11 till 2.
Okay, thank you.
We still have more people to hear from who will hopefully be stepping in so we can extend the hours.
Well, that's exciting.
Yes, we're really excited.
It'd be great to have the seller back open.
It will be.
Anything else?
We made $200 selling CDs, thanks to Linda and Jenny.
Did you sell most of them?
I don't know because I wasn't here, but Linda would know. What did you sell most of them? Oh no, not even close. It looked like you had a lot and a lot of choices for people.
Yeah. We did have one gentleman that bought 94 of them.
Wow.
We're very, very grateful for him.
Yes.
And you know, dozen or so other buyers, 5, 10. So
Terrific.
little by little.
So they will be ongoing in the bookseller.
Yes.
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 I guess BJ was going to do a special sale with the classic CDs up here in
That's what we're
the
looking
shelves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. Next is my report. I really have nothing to report to you all, except that we did have notification from Matt Knickerbocker about meetings, and they are encouraging us to meet in person if possible. But we will continue to have the hybrid method. We will continue doing both virtually and in person. But I thank you all for coming tonight, and I hope everybody feels comfortable, and this will continue then to be our process. I think we get a lot more done when we can see each other and we have the back and forth. But first and foremost, we have to be comfortable health-wise. So hopefully we can continue this. Okay, I don't have anything else, Megan.
First, any questions regarding the spending report?
They look good.
I think we did good for this year. We will be returning some funds to the town, and those funds come from staffing because we didn't open on Sundays last year, and we also had a retirement that we didn't fill right away. We still have some outstanding invoices that we're waiting on, specifically the RFID system, which should be here in the next few weeks.
I'm sorry, Megan. Forgive me. I'm sorry. For some peculiar reason, you were very clear before. Now I'm like getting every other word that you're saying. I don't know if it's where you're sitting or something, but I can't, your words are not coming through. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. I was talking lower, so it didn't give you feedback. So we are returning some funds to the town, around 70,000. We have a few outstanding purchase orders that we're still waiting on invoices for because we can't pay them until we receive the items. One of which is the RFID system, which should be arriving soon. And then, as I've been reporting all year, Baker and Taylor has been on a 6-week lag with their invoicing. So while the percentages do look low, it also reflects that we are behind on billing with them. Any questions before I move on?
Can I ask one quick question? So with the return of the 70,000, you've already spoken with town about the reasons why that happened.
Yes, I had a conversation with finance. They're in agreement that is very practical return funding, since with COVID staffing was light, it makes sense that that money would be returned. And the understanding that there also were contracts and materials that did not make sense to purchase or renew while we were closed to the public, but now they were open again, like magazines and newspapers, those we did not pay for last year unless they were essential to our services. Those will be returning. The public is already requesting them. So there are bills that we didn't pay last year that we have to start paying again. So
thank you.
Anything else? Statistics are a bit interesting. When you look at the door count, remember, and just to remind you, this is a comparison to 2 years ago, not comparing to last year since we were open last year. But you can see we're really only getting 1/4 of the numbers we had. I think a lot of that is due to lack of programming, or the majority of our programming that we do offer being posted outside. So we don't get counts for those since they don't enter the building. Also too is we're not getting the foot traffic on the second floor like we were pre-COVID. I think it's going to be a while before people feel comfortable coming in, staying, working in large groups. We're also not hosting large meetings currently. So we are lacking in foot traffic. But what's interesting is that our circulation does not match our foot traffic. So I'm very happy to say you can see that we are close to where we were 2 years ago. Where we do need some work is getting adult services back up to where it was. But I think that's a reflection of the lack of foot traffic on the second floor. But if you notice in children's services, here surprisingly close to where we were 2 years ago. So we do have a lot of people, they come in, they get what they need, and they head back out the door. So we are seeing circulation and summer reading. We also need help on this back up. Now our goal is to sustain the circulation we have in children and work on increasing it in adults. Any questions on statistics?
So Megan, for curbside service, is that considered in those numbers? Is that person actually considered coming in to get the book?
No, and we're not allowed to count.
Okay, so that's got to be a big piece of it too.
So yeah, so our statistics are driven by the state and the federal government's annual analysis of public libraries. And they determined last year during COVID that you could only count a person who's utilizing the building if they enter the building beyond the foyer. So that every curbside pickup be counted as a service, but not an in-person service.
But it's installed circulation.
It is circulation.
Yeah, crazy high. So I think that's an interesting statistic that you didn't mention.
Well, digital circulation has been rapidly growing in the last year. You're going to see a little bit of a dip because right now it seems like every few years the publishers are trying to renegotiate their agreements as to what we can and can't use. We got Acorn TV 2 years ago, which was really popular with our community, and then Overdrive bought out Acorn and changed all the stipulations for circulation. So we're no longer able to offer that service, and Overdrive hasn't decided how they're going to allow us to offer that service. So I think that's also caused an impact on us. I know we got, as soon as they shut down the service, even though they sent emails out for months leading up to it, the shock from the public and all of the emails and phone calls we got. So I think that with digital circulation is doing very well, it's just challenging because we never know what the publishers and vendors are going to do next. It seems like every 6 months they kind of throw a wrench in things. So, and it's difficult for the public too. They feel like they know what they're doing, they get comfortable with an app, and then something happens. So it is doing well, but I think we're going to see some fluctuation in the next 6 months as they figure out what they're doing. And Overdrive is buying up a lot of smaller vendors. So then what they do is they change the rules, they change the billing agreement, and it complicates things. And I want to thank the Friends. They're giving us a grant for $1,250 to pay for these books that we're going to utilize for our 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program. I had mentioned to the board about 4 or 5 months ago that we were going to be implementing a 1,000 Books Before Kindergarten program that encourages parents from 6 months up through their entering kindergarten to read to their children nightly and to try to make a goal of reading 1,000 books. So what we do is we incentivize it by creating programs around it, giving out small prizes to parents and children as they meet goals. So the software we use is called Stack, and last year they implemented a physical book that can be used for tracking to match the software so that way parents can log online and keep track of everything they're doing, but kids have something tangible that they can color in and fill in as they're completing the program, and it's designed for children who can't read or write yet, so it's all image driven. So they are, because they're on the pricier side, they're not like $2 items like what we're used to. We decided to make it where when they hit 250 books, that's when they get it. And that'll be their first opportunity to start filling things in. So it'll be an incentive to get them to that first 250. And if a parent starts at 1, this way the child will get it when they're ready. They can't hold a crayon and ready to really interact with the book. And then it works great for us because it gives us something tangible that they can utilize, and it's great for Friends because it allows us to promote them to an audience that we don't typically come into contact with. We're very excited about that.
Excuse me. Just a quick question. So the book that gets the first prize that gets given to them, is that mailed to them, or do they come to the library and pick it up?
They come in and pick it up.
Okay, thank you.
Then summer reading is underway. We're about halfway, a little bit more through the program. We did set goals this year for trying to get 400 kids registered and 150 adults, which were our targets pre-COVID. Right now we're about 300 for children and about 80 for adults. I don't really foresee us hitting the goals this year at this point. We're going to try though to keep going, try to get youth up to 350 and adults up to 100. We just started doing raffle prizes for adults, so it's gotten us a little bit more engagement and feedback. And for kids, we usually get a small bump towards the end as they come back from their camps and their vacations and register and get their stuff in before school starts. But yeah, next year we'll have the same goal again, and we're going to try to hit that. We've had a couple of big program events. We did a tie-dye event in June. We had about 120 people come and participate. And then we had a Birds of Prey activity, and I want to thank Parks and Recreation because this summer has been challenging with the weather. Will it rain? Won't it rain? Nobody knows. So Parks and Rec allowed us to book some of their meeting spaces as backup locations. So we were able to do the Birds of Prey program in the gym while the thunder and lightning rolled outside. So this month we're bringing back magazines and newspapers. So we just renewed with the New York Times, so that should be coming in the next 2 weeks. Then a few others are coming in. We've had some cancellations as well. So magazines we thought we'd be bringing back are no longer in existence. So it's going to be a little slow getting everything back in, but we are in the process of bringing back as much as we can. Some exciting news is consumer reports we now have online. So you can now go to our website, use your library card, and get access to all the same information you get from the magazine. So we're really looking forward to that, because one of the things we had a lot of during COVID was people calling and asking us to read them the consumer reports information. So we're very excited to be able to walk them through it over the phone and have them see the information. Then we're starting to put articles again in the Bethel Gazette. So you're going to start seeing information coming out that way. We started about 2 weeks ago, and we've had some nice responses to that so far. So the last thing I have for this evening is I want to talk to you about the COVID protocols that we have put in place. I don't know if you remember, we had different phases of COVID where we tackled different issues. And before I make the next round of changes, I wanted to inform you of them in case you have any questions or concerns. So there were a couple areas that need to be addressed. One is I would like to return to Sundays in the fall. Well, I know we haven't been busy.
I'm sorry, Megan. You want to do what in the fall?
I want to return to Sunday service.
Thank you.
We did budget for it, so we do have the funding for it. I also believe the school is starting again in person, that we're going to have more people looking for places to work. So I would like to start that again in the fall. I'll be putting new schedules out to the staff at the end of this week. Does anybody have any concerns or questions regarding that?
I think it's a great idea.
I agree.
I think the more normal we are,
Yeah,
the better.
yes, I agree.
Yes, I feel like at this point, if we don't make these adjustments, we won't get people back. So it's time to start making changes. The next thing is I want to end quarantining books. A lot of libraries have already put an end to it. We're currently down to 24 hours. We find that people are getting more frustrated with items not coming off of their account right away. We're getting a lot more phone calls than we used to regarding, are my items, have they been checked in, what happened to them? And the other thing is circulation is picking back up again. It's getting very difficult to store all these items. And I do have concerns with donations coming in from the friends, getting mixed up with quarantined items. And I know that the friends are going to try really hard to get their donations in during those time slots, but just in case. And we've seen so much research showing that COVID is not a contact issue, it's face-to-face. So at this point, I think it's safe for us to eliminate quarantine and go back to checking the items as they arrive. And they oftentimes takes more than 24 hours to be shelved anyway. So, and our staff is handling those books as well. So really at this point, I think we're ready to move past that. As long as nobody has any objections or concerns.
And you'll continue to have hand sanitizers throughout the building?
Yes, so cleaning procedures will not change, hand sanitizing, that will all continue. We have a staff member whose job it is once a week to go around and refill everything. So we've actually built that into our supply budget, so we're covered for doing that. The other thing we halted during COVID was fines. We've been leaving all fines because we've been quarantining items. So
I'm sorry, Megan. I could not hear what that was.
So we put a hold on fines.
Hold on fines. Okay, thank you.
During COVID, because we were quarantining items, it was giving people anxiety, worrying that they were racking up fines when really they were sitting on carts to check in. And then people too were just not getting out the same way they used to. They weren't going to the grocery store on a regular basis, or taking their kids places, or really leaving the house. So we wanted to simplify the process and make things easier for people so that we continue to use the library. Now we're going back to regular hours. We're going back to checking things in as they're returned. So my question now is, do you want to bring fines back after Labor Day, or do you want to continue to postpone
Diane?
Well, yeah, library is going to be open more
Yep.
often, so they have the opportunity, I guess.
Yep.
And if they're taking them out and they're coming here, then there's no reason why they can't bring them back.
And a lot of people are actually now paying their fines from pre-COVID, which is that interesting. I was surprised by how much we had brought in fines in the last couple of months. So I had to go check and see what was going on, and it turned out everyone who had fines pre-COVID is now they were in the building, they were asking, do I have fines on my card, and started paying them down. So we're seeing that. And you know, it might be worth in the future having a conversation about fines, but for now I'm just looking to see about reinstating services. So if everyone's okay with going back to fines, we can always discuss at a later date.
My feeling is it's just another procedure that we've always had, and if we are trying to get back to quote normal, whatever normal is, that we probably should reinstitute the same programs that we had. Doesn't mean we can't look at it in the future and change fines. But
because if we do eliminate fines, then we also have to go back and redo all of our policies. So,
No, we could give them a little extra grace period and some warning that fines are going to be coming back. So
we did tell them they were coming back in May before Memorial Day. But then we found that we were still seeing people struggling to get back. So we said, you know what, let's get through the summer. Let's get people comfortable being back in the building. And then we pushed it back to Labor Day. But I'm definitely going to give the staff some flexibility in waiving fines. I think our priority really should be circulation of fines.
is there a way to pay fines online?
No, there's not right now. And it would be nice. The problem with paying fines online is so often people's fines are like 25 cents.
Right, right. So, I know.
It's the larger fines that where it would become nice. But right now we're working on our money handling procedures. We're updating those. We have a register now we're using. So all the money is being input through the Square. So we're working on our tracking mechanisms before we start thinking about alternative ways of payment. So the last thing is the masks. So up until now, we have required staff to wear masks. And I would like to ask that we continue having staff wear masks while in the building, in the public areas. The reason being is I don't see any harm in it, but it does provide a sense of security for people who don't feel comfortable not having a mask on. We work with a lot of young kids and they can't currently be vaccinated. So I feel that as long as everyone can't be vaccinated, we should be creating an environment where people feel safe bringing their families into the library.
There's another issue too. They've had very few flu because people are wearing masks. So there are advantages to it too.
And we require cloth. We're not requiring N95s. So it is something, and we do provide them to our staff. We find it kind of interesting too, like the teens come in and they don't have their mask on, but when they start coming over to interact, they always put a mask on. Then, you know, so it's very interesting to see how people behave, but I'd like to see what happens in the next couple of months. Like let's see what happens with school starting. I'm not requiring the public. I'm not asking to require the public. You know, my comfort level is very different than someone else's comfort level. But we want everyone who comes into the library to feel safe coming up to the staff and working with the staff. So I'd like to continue it and bring it up for discussion in September. We've already too had some concerns. We've had some programmers canceled because of the Delta variant and not wanting to be around in public spaces. We have had people call and ask about mask wearing during indoor and outdoor programs. So I would like to continue that for another month. Because I know last month I had specified readdressing it in a month, and I'd like to extend that another month.
Do you want a motion on that so that you have something ready? Or just discussion?
I think discussion is fine because we're not changing anything. We just said we would discuss it again because as of right now, we already have it in place. I'm just asking to push it out another month to September, and we'll see what happens. Because hopefully it's at that point, kids will have the option to be vaccinated. Right now, I have not heard anything regarding that.
So you're asking that the staff will have masks on
for another month,
but the public it's optional.
Yes, we're not going to require the public to put on masks. I think that's a personal comfort level.
Do you anticipate any problems?
I think it's mixed. I think some people on staff really prefer mask wearing and others prefer not to. But a lot of our patrons still come in with masks, especially patrons who have children. We're seeing a lot of mask wearing amongst them. Some libraries have done it where they've said if you work at circulation in the children's department, you have to wear a mask. If you work in adult, you don't have to. But we have so much foot. We have so many people who start downstairs with kids and go upstairs that the idea of making it where anytime a child comes up the stairs, you put a mask on, doesn't really seem like a practical plan for us.
Does anybody have?
I think it's such a crazy heated issue right now, but I don't see anything wrong with extending it another month when we're dealing with this variant and no one knows where that's going to go. So rather than making changes to an existing policy, why not just talk about it later? I think that's fine.
Yeah, and I think we have an obligation to make the public feel as safe as they can when they come in. So right. I would be. And everyone else.
Tia and Ted, were you able to hear me?
Yep. I'm good with that.
Okay. Tia, are you?
Yes. No, I think that makes sense. One question is signage. Do we have a sign up that just says, you're not required? I think we do, don't we? That we're not required to wear masks, and our staff, are we going to have something that says our staff is masked for their comfort? Or
We don't have a sign saying the staff, mainly because all the staff are wearing them. We didn't feel the need to specify staff. Plus, we didn't want to put too much on the sign. We were afraid no one would read it. So we played the game.
That's wise.
Shortest. So it just says that we encourage, we do not require.
Okay.
So we will readdress this at next month's meeting or the September meeting?
Let's say next month for now. Because the next month's meeting is
almost back to school.
Yeah.
Right when school starts. But it makes sense to see what the schools are doing there.
Yeah.
Another town, community building.
Yeah. And I think too is we are very different than town hall. I know town hall, theirs is they're following the if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask. But their foot traffic is very different than ours. Yeah. How often do you see kids coming into town hall to do business? It really is.
It's really no purpose.
So I think that while I tend to try to sway towards whatever town we should follow, I think this is one of those times where we're doing something very different than town is. So we
want to see what schools do. No, the decisions with kids are very back and forth.
Yeah.
So
they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. And we do want to save children's library. So.
Yeah, and I think we're erring on the side of safety, and that's important.
So I believe that is it for me this evening, unless someone has a question for me.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you, Megan. Does anyone have any other issues or any other library business that they care to bring up before we adjourn?
What did we ever decide to do about that bench that was being donated? Did we ever address that again? Maybe I wasn't here.
It's coming.
Yes, we
It's coming?
Eventually. Yeah.
So the bench we have to wait till after we finish the AARP project because we can't promote. Well, we can, but we prefer not to promote two projects at the same time. Okay. The AARP benches were supposed to be here about 4 weeks ago. So they supposedly shipped last Friday and are supposed to be here within the next 2 weeks. We are continually reaching out, find out what's going on. But it just seems like there's a material shortage. So it's difficult. But we're gonna go ahead this week and move forward with the bench purchase because I am getting concerned now that with the material shortage, we might run into a whole new set of problems with the bench. But part of our grant with AARP is the promoting of the project. So there are steps that we had agreed upon when we applied for the grant of tracking the progress of it by promoting when the Parks and Rec comes to prepare the property, we're going to document that photographic, share it with the community. When the picnic tables arrive, the installation of them, and then set up some programming around them. Now the bench installation, they had wanted something very similar. So we didn't want these two projects overlapping. So the bench, while our goal is to get it in October, because we're looking at lining up some mental health awareness for teen programming, we may end up having to push it back to the spring. Okay. But we haven't made that decision yet. We're hoping the AARP batches are here in the next week.
I have a question. Have you been able to interview any people for the job?
Oh, thank you. So we had to post it internally first. So we have one candidate internally, and then so far we've had 2 external candidates. Normally we get about 15 to 20 candidates for a position. This time around, there are a lot of full-time positions available right now. This afternoon, as I was complaining about it to someone else, 3 new job postings popped up. And area libraries, Weston's hiring, Richfield's hiring. There's a lot of libraries that are posting full-time positions. I think COVID kind of was a factor for a lot of people into retiring early. Oftentimes when you get out of library school, you have to piecemeal part-time jobs together for your first couple of years to build experience before getting a full-time job. And right now, there's just a lot of jobs. So we do have 3 candidates that we're going to start interviewing next week. The other thing we're going to do is we were going to wait to post the part-time position until after we fill the full-time, because initially I was concerned about having 15, 20 candidates for one position and 15, 20 candidates for another, and tackling both of those at the same time, but clearly that's not an issue. So we're going to move forward with the other positions so that way we're ready for opening on Sundays. If we find that these candidates aren't ideal, then we will look at another approach. I am going to send it out though to, right now it's on our website, and it's on the Connecticut Libraries listserv for jobs. I am going to send it to the Westchester and the Putnam County listservs as well this week. Usually I don't do that unless I really have to, because we try to look for people who are very familiar with our system. But at this point, we're going to reach out and see, because I would like a bigger candidate pool before we make decisions.
And Megan, what was the position? I'm sorry.
It's the Senior Library Assistant.
Thank you.
Technology and Programming.
But of course, that's not just libraries. I mean, that Linda, we were talking about it earlier. You were having trouble filling positions in your company. I mean, it's not just us. It's not just us.
No, it seems like there's a lot more options for people than there used to be. So people can be choosier in what they select. I just think our timing wasn't great either, because the whole slew of jobs came out the same week as ours. So it kind of gets buried in the mix of positions. So we're going to keep it open for a few weeks. We're going to reach out to a few more places, and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. Anything else? Anybody else? No?
Robin, you're going to get ready to pull the development committee together for a meeting before next month?
Yeah, we have to do that. Yep, that's on the agenda.
I was thinking about that.
I was away for a few weeks, and then Robin was away for a few weeks.
Yeah,
So
summer's a tough one.
Yeah. Yes, it is. We will get it together.
Should I make the motion?
Yes,
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
I'm sorry, folks. I could not hear who made that.
Terry Rotel made a motion to adjourn the meeting, and
Who did? I'm sorry. Who did?
Terry Rotel.
Terry at 6:40. A second, please.
Robin, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Out and making the effort.
Well, everyone.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.